The effects of drug use in decision-making. The effects of drug use on the decision-making process are vast and can be complicated to understand, but essentially it can create an inability for one to make sound decisions with planning for the future or taking responsibility for actions that may come back to harm them later on. Substance abuse and drug addiction cause people to make irrational and poor decisions. Drugs can influence a person's ability to make correct decisions by affecting different parts of the brain responsible for decision-making, such as the hippocampus, thalamus, and prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for analyzing data received from our senses and deciding an appropriate action based on that stimulation. When drugs are used, they can interfere with our brain's ability to receive and process information, which will make someone less able to make good decisions. The effects of drug use on decision-making? Drug users are less likely to wait for a larger reward in the future compared to non-drug users, which creates an imbalance between immediate and delayed gratification. Drug abusers have reduced cognitive flexibility, which is the ability to adapt to changing situations and to switch between different tasks. Drug abusers have a weakened ability to plan, which leads to difficulties in achieving goals, such as planning one's career or education. Adolescents who use drugs have reduced self-efficacy when it comes to resisting the impulse for using substances. Drug abusers find it more difficult to make choices between moral and immoral choices when the latter involves drugs. Drug users are more impulsive and therefore less able to control their behavior compared to non-drug abusers. Drug abusers have an attentional bias towards drug-related cues, which contributes to continuing drug use even when no longer pleasurable or rewarding. Drug abusers have a generally less risky attitude towards making choices, which helps to explain why they are more likely to use drugs even under conditions of high risk. How to help and what to remember. The National Institute of Drug Abuse has ways in which you can support someone in your life that is struggling with drug addiction. Drug prevention programs involving families have been shown to be effective when all family members are in agreement about prevention issues, and when they work together towards the same goals. Maintaining mental health is important for an individual struggling with substance abuse because individuals with mental disorders are more likely to abuse illegal drugs. Additional risk factors for drug abuse can include environmental risk factors, genes, peer pressure, and repeated drug use can result in negative consequences that pose a serious threat to their health. Healthcare providers should be more aware of understanding a drug's effect on cognitive processes, such as memory and attention, because these abilities aid healthcare providers in determining whether or not a patient's decision-making is influenced by their drug use. Family members should look for support groups that can provide methods of coping with the drug use behavior of their loved ones.